Keep doing it.
This week on At the Movies, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson goes on a race to which mountain?
Slow down! Here, slow down!
Emily Blunt and Oscar nominee Amy Adams take out the trash in Sunshine Cleaning.
I might like you. Then again, I might not.
Keira Knightley and Sienna Miller are on the edge of love.
I want to hear you beg for your life.
Plus,
Those vehicles behind us are indicating a pattern of pursuit.
I'm just gonna let him pass. Are you doing this? There's no way.
Seth, no.
Many still know him as The Rock, but here, Dwayne Johnson picks up passengers from a different world. I'm Ben Mankiewicz from Turner Classic Movies.
and I'm Ben Lyons from E! Entertainment. It's been 34 years since Disney's Escape to Witch Mountain first entertained audiences. Now, director Andy Fickman, who last teamed with Dwayne Johnson on the surprisingly successful The Game Plan, has reunited with the wrestler turned movie star to reimagine the Disney classic, now titled Race to Witch Mountain. Johnson plays Las Vegas cab driver Jack Bruno, down on his luck and in debt to a local crime boss. He picks up two peculiar passengers, kids Seth and Sarah, played by Alexander Ludwig and Anna Sophia Robb.
You don't look like aliens.
What does an alien look like?
You know what aliens look like? They're like little green people with antennas that take me to your leader, Earthlings. Ooh.
These aren't just any ordinary kids. It turns out they are aliens from outer space, trying to return to their spaceship in order to save life on planet Earth as we know it.
You're telling me you think those two kids were extraterrestrials searching for their missing spaceship?
Oh, they can also do all this stuff, too.
Our spaceship is locked inside Witch Mountain.
If we don't get there in time,
The invasion will begin.
The premise should be the perfect stage for some high-powered special effects. But the film's biggest problem, and there are many, is that it feels small in size despite its out-of-this-world plotline. The usually charismatic and charming Dwayne Johnson feels suffocated here, playing the character on one note instead of allowing his natural charm and wit to shine through. You can go back and see the original, but skip Race to Witch Mountain. Really disappointed by this, Mank.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned The Rock, and he is a charming guy, and I think more recently even than The Game Plan, you think back to Get Smart, and I thought he was charming there in a supporting role, and it just doesn't come off the screen here. And Carla Gugino, who plays the scientist who helps them, and it's flat for her, too.
It almost looks like she walks in from another movie. She doesn't really have much to do
I think that's a good point. And there's no chemistry between them, and they have nothing in common, and you don't understand why why they would be remotely attracted to each other. And then you mentioned the special effects, and you know, this is a movie where you anticipate these being really sort of, that would be what saves the movie. And it seems like, you know, maybe their budget got cut by 90% right before filming.
Yeah, I was so disappointed by the lack of special effects in this film, which I thought ultimately, like you said, would be the saving grace of this movie. They're just not there.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's just some real plot problems with it. For example, there's an alien spaceship, as you might imagine, in the movie, and it's far more sophisticated than humans could ever possibly imagine, and yet from 20 feet away, it can't shoot Dwayne Johnson's cab. Ultimately, for this sort of a kid's adventure movie, I think most kids, and certainly most adults, are going to find themselves pretty bored.
Look, I love Las Vegas as much as the next guy, but why is this the backdrop for this kid's family movie? Having Dwayne Johnson's character have an outstanding debt with a local mob boss, there's so much in this film that just needed to be tweaked and enhanced to really make it special, and it's just not there on the screen.
Yeah, ultimately, I agree with you. Skip Race to Witch Mountain. Our next film solves this riddle. What happens when the CSI techs leave a crime scene? Well, the answer? Amy Adams comes in. In Sunshine Cleaning, Adams is Rose Lorkowski, a former cheerleader who dated the quarterback. Now she's a single mother working as a cleaning woman. Her sister Nora, the talented Emily Blunt, is a failed waitress. Their father, Alan Arkin, is a failed salesman. They have a lot going for them. Desperate to get her son into a private school, Rose reveals her business plan: crime scene cleanup.
You really think you can make a ton of cash cleaning up after dead people?
I know I can. It's very lucrative.
Come on, girls,
It's a
let's have a
racket.
nice,
Bro,
pleasant
you buy
dinner.
generic cigarettes with couch change. How are you going to afford private school?
So Rose and Nora go into business, but though they love each other, they are bad partners, largely because they each deal with their mother's suicide years earlier so differently.
okay, I'm sorry.
I can't even ask you to do one thing without you messing it up. I mean, Jesus, Nora, it's not like I don't have enough to deal with in my own life, but now I have to take care of you on top of it, and I can't. It's too much. I can't do it.
I'm not asking you to.
I told you I was going to be there. You couldn't just wait.
The movie is directed by Christine Jeffs from first-time screenwriter Megan Holly, and I found this to be a really sweet, credible story. It's emotional but rarely heavy-handed. The movie captured the complicated dynamics of sisterhood and wasn't afraid to leave questions unanswered, which is very rare. Thankfully, Sunshine Cleaning does not tie up neatly at the end, but it's effective, and I think it's worth seeing.
Mank, this is a Sundance movie in every sense of the word. It's that quirky American indie that is looking to find moments of humor set against the backdrop of some dark, tragic moments. I enjoy watching Emily Blunt and Amy Adams as sisters. They have a great chemistry together. I feel like Alan Arkin's kind of redoing his character from Little Miss Sunshine a little bit as the wise but sort of strange grandfather befriending his grandchild and trying to sell shrimp out of his bathtub for no reason. But ultimately, I left the film kind of feeling indifferent towards the characters on screen.
No, I disagree with you. I thought the chemistry was good between Amy Adams and Emily Blunt, who I think is a wonderful actress. And I thought that the fact that they're not in any way similar, but I totally bought that given their peculiar, difficult circumstances they came with, a single father, Alan Arkin, after their mother's suicide, that they could come out that way. I thought also we've seen real growth here from Amy Adams, who I've loved in Charlie Wilson's War and obviously acclaimed for her work in Enchanted and the Oscar nomination this past year for Doubt. But those were almost all sort of ingenue roles. Here she really stepped up into a grown-up role, and I thought she nailed it.
I enjoyed some of the performances. Ultimately, I didn't find it funny enough, and I didn't find it emotional enough to give it a see it, but check it out on DVD. You can rent it. Coming up next, we'll review the latest in horror remakes, The Last House on the Left.
And later, Keira Knightley and Sienna Miller get entangled in a forbidden romance in The Edge of Love.
You'll never come between them. I think Justin here could be kind of cute.
Evening. You knew not to bring anybody back here. We made the front page. That's what's going on.
This is none of our business.
I'm sorry, ladies.
Oh my God!
We just can't risk it.
Now, it's no secret I have difficulty stomaching disgusting, horrific scenes of torture and mutilation in movies. Nobody seems to have mastered this genre of filmmaking quite like Wes Craven, whose first film back in 1972, The Last House on the Left, has now been remade by director Dennis Iliadis. After a deadly car wreck frees him from police custody, Krug, played by actor Garrett Dillahunt, leads a gang of young criminals, including his own son, on a violent rampage.
These are two lovely girls, Justin.
Bring her back!
You got her.
They brutally assault two girls, raping one and leaving them both for dead. One of the girls is Mary Collingwood, who, along with her parents, Emma and John, are vacationing in the secluded lakeside woods for the summer. As coincidence would have it, the gang seeks refuge from a rainstorm in the house of the unsuspecting couple. When their daughter returns home, barely breathing after being shot in the back, the Collingwoods realize their house guests are responsible for the vicious attack.
They're still here. What if they come over here?
I know. You're right. Which means we gotta be ready for anything. We have to be ready to do anything.
The movie spirals out of control into a series of brutal episodes of revenge, one more grotesque than the next. By the time someone's head is microwaved, I realized that I had just lost 2 hours of my life. With a premise that could have inspired an intelligent, exciting thriller, it just becomes a pointless excuse for senseless violence and an early candidate for my worst of 2009 list. Skip The Last House on the Left. Boy, words cannot express how much I just loathed and detested.
I think words just did.
Really? Okay.
You know, there are about 25 minutes in this movie after the bad guys arrive at the Last House on the Left, and the parents there, Tony Goldwyn and Monica Potter, don't know who these guys are, and they don't want to reveal their identity. And there's some actual drama and some tension there. Unfortunately, that follows a terrible, disgusting, really difficult to watch first 30 minutes, and then two of the most ridiculous final minutes you're ever going to see in a movie. But it's that first 30 minutes that ruins this movie. You talk about that sexual assault. It felt prurient. It felt like this was designed to titillate us, and that, of course, is something that is always going to be inappropriate. There was no cause for it. There's one scene where a guy is killed and shown a picture of his children before he dies.
For no reason
at all.
whatsoever.
Felt very uncomfortable.
Honestly, Mank, just talking about this film right now makes me want to take a shower. It's that dirty and disgusting. Who enjoys going to see movies like this? I will never understand the appeal of seeing someone's brains out on the screen for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. There's really no redeeming qualities here. You should skip Last House on the Left. Coming up next, Keira Knightley and Sienna Miller are caught on the edge of love.
And later, a filmmaker risks his life to tell his brother's story.
I'll be coming home today.
What's your friend?
Queen of Ireland, love of my life, mother of my child, Kathleen Thomas.
Your wife, Dylan. The one and only. He didn't mention. Well, he wouldn't. Would he?
Next up, a movie loosely based on a true story, The Edge of Love. It's set in London and Wales against the backdrop of the Blitz in World War II. Two beautiful actresses, Keira Knightley and Sienna Miller, play half of a love quadrangle. They both love Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, played by Matthew Rhys. And Thomas loves both women, though he's married to one of them, Sienna Miller. The three of them live for a time in a London flat while Thomas broods and drinks and watches longingly as Knightley eventually falls for a soldier, Cillian Murphy.
I love you.
I am not marrying you.
No, you don't make the decisions anymore.
No.
No, say it. Say yes.
No.
Say it. Say it.
That clip is a good example of how John Maybury's film looks. It is very self-consciously dark and shadowy. It's a noirish romance, but without any of the tension or even smoldering sensuality you'd expect from good film noir. And the second half, set in the Welsh seaside, feels and looks like a mundane domestic love story.
I'll take you back to a time when we were safe, when no bombs fell from the sky and no one died, ever.
And you can't go back.
We can. You and me.
The performances are generally solid, particularly I thought Sienna Miller as Caitlin Thomas, but I found the film overly expository, particularly for a love story seemingly so reliant on subtlety. I think you need to skip Edge of Love.
I thought it looked incredible. I love the way that the film feels because of the lighting on set. And he talked about the lack of tension in the film. I completely disagree. I thought there's a scene in the end where Cillian Murphy confronts Matthew Rhys that's incredibly powerful. And you mentioned the quadrangle, but it's really the triangle that captured my attention between Keira Knightley, Sienna Miller, and the character of Dylan Thomas. That's where the real tension in the film exists, because Sienna Miller and Keira Knightley are not rivals competing for his affection and his love. They almost are like sisters and have a real friendship between the two of them, which I thought was interesting.
There's a friendship, but there's certainly also a rivalry. You mentioned that scene when Murphy shows up at Dylan Thomas's house to confront him because he thinks he's been in a relationship with Keira Knightley while Murphy was away at war. I didn't buy that for 1 second. How did that guy suddenly start shooting up a house with children inside? I didn't buy that for half a second.
He's a soldier who's come back scorned and confused about the woman he's loved and left, and I thought that was an incredibly tense moment in the film. And I think for Keira Knightley and Sienna Miller, they focus on complex characters, and every time out they give you something different. Never knew Keira Knightley could sing like that, and Sienna Miller...
I don't think I would have left her singing out. I don't think she added anything.
I thought she did a great job with that aspect of the character, and I thought Sienna Miller was really engaging on screen.
It felt like a lighting class, not a movie.
Oh, no, I didn't love it. I really did enjoy it, though, so I'm going to have to say see it. The next film is Brothers at War from filmmaker Jake Rademacher. It tells the story of Jake's two brothers, Joe and Isaac, and how their tours in the Middle East have affected their lives and their families. Jake never served in the armed forces, and this has always created a disconnect between him and his two brothers. With incredibly dangerous and eye-opening access to U.S. combat units deeply embedded in Iraq, Jake is able to walk in his brother's shoes to see their lives firsthand while risking his own.
What I found was unlike anything I expected.
There's 3 guys with rifles!
My understanding grew of the tougher, uglier side of war that soldiers like my brothers know all too well.
The film courageously balances intense and emotional moments with humorous ones, like when one soldier professes his undying love for the TV show The O.C. while cleaning his gun.
Dude, episode 4. Oh. I put it up there near the Thanksgiving episodes.
What starts as a defined and focused thesis loses its way as the film goes on. It seems hard for filmmakers who shot so many hours of compelling footage to leave most of it on the cutting room floor, but ultimately it's these choices that determine how effective a narrative can be. Despite this almost fatal flaw, I still think it's worth renting because the film does a good job of taking audiences deeper than the media or newscasters on TV ever could. It's personalizing and humanizing war and its impact on the American family.
Yeah, Ben, you know, this movie gave me some pause because I admire the intent so much of a brother troubled by his lack of connection to his two brothers, almost feeling inadequate because they are serving in Iraq and he didn't, going over there to try to experience what they experienced. But I really felt like it suffered from the manner in which it was put together. It's told entirely sequentially, and I think that hurt it. Also, when we're in Iraq, I didn't find that any of the soldiers said anything that made me understand them better. They were very guarded. They weren't really revealing. Finally, at the end, a sniper says, it's weird watching someone you shoot die, but it's really like getting a tattoo. Once you got one, you can't wait to get another one. And I thought finally, oh, there's something that tells me about war. I just didn't think there was enough of that in the movie.
It's a problem I have with documentaries all the time, and that filmmakers love their footage and they just want to throw everything in there, and it's not necessary. Had this film been an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, as opposed to the nearly 2 hours that it is, I think it would have been far more effective.
Yeah, ultimately, I guess in the end, there were a couple of moments. I mentioned the one with the sniper. There was a couple more that I thought were revealing enough, and I love the intent. So I'm going to agree with you with Jake Rademacher's work. I'm going to go ahead and say rent it. Coming up, Paul Rudd and Seann William Scott star in one of the funniest movies of last year, and it's out now on DVD.
Rock and roll all night, part of every day.
Time to take a look at DVDs out now. My pick this week, it's the vampire movie Let the Right One In from Swedish director Tomas Alfredson. It was on my top 10 list last year, and there's a big difference between the blood and gut-style horror movies like Last House on the Left and a classic, suspenseful, frightening thriller like this movie. Let the Right One In was terrifying with some great performances by its young leads.
My DVD pick is the Paul Rudd, Seann William Scott comedy Role Models. Rudd is a caustic sales rep who peddles his energy drink to middle schoolers. When girlfriend Elizabeth Banks tires of his bitterness and dumps him, Rudd clashes with a cop, and he and Scott end up sentenced to 150 hours of community service, serving as role models to at-risk kids.
So, do you like Coca-Cola?
I like the idea of it more than I actually like it.
It is a ridiculous concept, but its execution is splendid. The movie belongs to Rudd, who takes the crudeness and potential offensiveness of the script and completely disarms it with his charm and comic timing. What we're left with is a very funny and oddly sweet story.
So Role Models and Let the Right One In are available right now.
Also available on DVD now, 3 movies that we reviewed on previous shows. Sean Penn in his Oscar-winning role in Milk, Anne Hathaway in her Oscar-nominated role in Rachel Getting Married, and Philip Seymour Hoffman in Synecdoche, New York.
Want to know what you can't miss this weekend? Well, stay tuned for My 3 to See.
I love this town.
Why are you in my yard?
Why are you in your yard? There's all sorts of super destinations. You could go to a jazz festival, stock car racing, ride a donkey in a canyon. You just gotta go. I'll feed you free breakfast.
Hotel provided by Park Hyatt Chicago. Chicago's award-winning hotel and luxury dining experience. Located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile on Water Tower Square.
Okay, recapping the movies on this week's show. We both say skip Race to Witch Mountain. I say see Sunshine Cleaning. Ben says go ahead and rent it. We both say skip Last House on the Left, and we're very serious about that. I say skip The Edge of Love. Ben says see it. And we both say rent Brothers at War.
My 3 to See this week starts off with Crossing Over. Harrison Ford, Ashley Judd, and Ray Liotta star in a multi-layered drama that humanizes the issues surrounding immigration in America. Writer-director Wayne Kramer portrays balanced, intersecting stories with strong focus, compelling story arcs, and fine performances. At number 2, it's the great Buck Howard. John Malkovich consistently delivers stellar work. Best known for dramas, but as of late, showing off a comedic side to his impressive range. Opposite star on the rise, Colin Hanks, this slightly inside showbiz buddy film is a coming-of-age story with tender moments and several truly endearing characters. And at #1 this week, the movie that was #1 at the box office last weekend, Watchmen, the film adaptation of the incredible graphic novel. Not on the level of The Dark Knight or Iron Man by any means, but in the same realm, as it is more than just one stylized fight sequence after another.
That's it for now. Remember, we are always online, the website atthemoviestv.com.
We'll leave you with a look at releases coming soon, and until next week, we'll be at the movies.
We're supposed to be on the same side.
They were here.
Who?
The Whisperer people.
Activon Ultra Strength for powerful pain relief. A convenient applicator means no messy creams. Activon, applied directly where it hurts for joint pain, muscle pain, arthritis, and backache.
Need contact lenses? 1-800-CONTACTS delivers name brand contact lenses for less, right to your door. 1-800-CONTACTS. We deliver, you save.
Oh boy, smelly shoes. No smell?
Odor Readers destroys odor, absorbs wetness. Odor Readers insoles powder and spray.
Your pets need year-round protection, plus medications for cold weather joint pain. Fortunately, they cost a lot less at 1-800-PET-MEDS. Call now or order online.
By now, you've heard that Antenna TV is going all digital, and the nationwide switch to digital TV has moved to a new date, June 12th. But you don't have to wait until June 12th to enjoy free digital TV. Upgrade your Antenna TV with a converter box or buy a new digital set. Use the right antenna and start enjoying free digital television now. Visit dtvanswers.com or call 888-CALL-FCC to learn more about the June 12th switch to digital TV.